welcome to Solar Sir's classes. Today in this video I will be talking about NTA UGC NET or JRF. So let us start with the very basic thing, that is the full form, that is knowing the full form of these things. NTA, that is National Testing Agency, UGC University Grants Commission, NET National Eligibility Test, and JRF Junior Research Fellowship. So this is a national level examination which is being conducted on the behalf of UGC by NTA, that is National Testing Agency. We will get to know about this further in the video. So in this video, I will be giving an overview about this examination, its structure, its pattern, the time of form fill-up, its eligibility criteria, and many more things that you need to know. But here I will be talking with specific reference to economics paper 2 in this video. So this video is specifically for those people who are going to sit for this examination, that is UGC NET examination in the coming time, or who have a future plan of sitting in this examination and thus they want to have a complete detail about this examination. So let's get started. What is UGC NET or JRF examination? This is a national level examination that is being conducted by UGC, that is being conducted by NTA on the behalf of UGC for determining the eligibility for the candidates for applying to the post of assistant professor or lecturer. If a candidate clears the examination of NET, the candidate becomes eligible to apply for the post of assistant professor or lecturer. While if a candidate clears both this NET and JRF, because only after clearing NET one can clear JRF, then the candidate becomes eligible to apply for the Junior Research Fellowship, in which the candidate or the awardee is given an award of Rs 25,000 per month plus HRA by the government. So I hope this is clear about this examination. Now let's see what is the major difference between NET and JRF. These are basically the same examination. There is that you do not have to sit for two different examinations for cadet, that is one for NET or one for JRF. No, these are the same examination, but there are some differences. What are the differences? That is NET and JRF. So what is the difference? The difference is that for JRF the cutoff goes a bit high, while for NET the cutoff goes a bit low than JRF. If a candidate clears NET examination, then he is eligible to apply for the post of assistant professor or even lecturer in some of the universities or in every universities and colleges in India. However, if a candidate clears JRF, then a candidate becomes eligible to apply for the post of assistant professor or lecturer. Along with the candidate also becomes eligible to apply for the post or to apply for getting the research fellowship. That is, he or she becomes eligible to apply for the junior research fellowship, in which he can continue, that is, he can continue his research in his method subject, and then he will be awarded Rs 25,000 per month by the government plus HRA. So I think this is clear. While you are filling up the form, there comes an option, that is only NET and NET and JRF both. Only NET and JRF both. These two options come. So a candidate while filling up the form need to tick any one of this, either this or this. They cannot take both. They need to tick any one of this, either only NET or NET and JRF both. So if a candidate ticks for only NET, then what happens? Then the candidate becomes eligible to apply for the post of assistant professor and lecturer only. While if a candidate applies for both NET and JRF, then the candidate along with the eligibility of assistant professor and lecturer becomes eligible to apply for the post of research, that is, he can continue his research fellowship. For example, let me give one instance. If a candidate gets 60%, if a candidate say A, a candidate A has applied for only NET. He has tick mark this option, only NET. He has applied for only NET and then he gets 60%. And in that year, the cutoff for NET goes, for NET goes 50% and for JRF goes 55%. Okay, so these are the cutoff. For NET, the cutoff goes 50% and for JRF, the cutoff goes 55%. While the candidate A has got 60%. So he is eligible for both, that is for NET and JRF both. But in his form, he has applied only for NET. So if he has applied only for NET, then even after getting the marks more than the required marks of JRF2, he will not be able to continue his research, or he will not be able to get the reward of 25,000 per month for continuing his research. Okay, so I think this is clear. So I think the safest side would be to take NET and JRF both. That is, you are not sure. Maybe you think that you are underprepared and you are prepared only for NET and you cannot qualify NET and JRF both. There are many people who think like this. But do not decide this before examination, because sometimes even if you think that you are underprepared, but in exam you may think, you may see the questions that becomes very easier for you and then you clear both this NET and JRF. So the safest side would be to mark NET and JRF both. However, there comes a difference, like if there comes a factor of age. For NET, there is no age limit. There goes no age limit for NET. However, for JRF, there comes certain age limit. For general male, the age limit goes to 30. If a general male is above the age of 30, then he is not eligible to apply for JRF. While a general female or SC, ST, OBC, EWS and even the PWD candidates, for them the age limit goes to 35. So if they become more than the age of 35, then they are not able to apply for the post of JRF. Then the candidate can apply only NET, because there is no other option. But if you are underage than this two, then the safest side would be to mark both NET and JRF. I hope this is clear. Now let's come to the eligibility. So before coming to the eligibility, one must know that if one is applying for the subjects of humanities or commerce, then one need to apply under NTA UGC NET or JRF. While if one is studying or if one has science background, then one need to apply under CSIR. We will study about this further. If the NET examination, this UGC NET examination consists of 81 subjects, which includes all the subjects of humanities and commerce, while CSIR covers all the subjects of science. What is CSIR? Commission of Scientific and Industrial Research. So if you are from science background, then you need to apply under CSIR and not UGC NET or JRF. CSIR, there you will have to apply. If you are from scientific background like BTech, BSc, then you will have to apply under CSIR. Now let's come to the eligibility criteria. The minimum eligibility criteria is that one need to have a master's degree for giving this examination. But if one has enrolled themselves in the master's program or in the PG courses and is studying in the first year, then even they can apply for this examination. The only criteria goes that after the declaration of the result of NET, the candidate need to produce his or her mark sheet within 2 years of the publication of the result. So if you are in the first year of masters, you can apply even then, because after 2 years you will be getting your master's mark sheet or PG mark sheet, and then you can give the mark sheet and you become eligible. So I would suggest that start preparing from the very first year of masters and start giving the examination, because it will be viable. So you are now aware with the eligibility criteria. The next criteria is that for general candidate, the minimum percentage required is, be it male or female, the minimum percentage required is 55% or above without rounding off, or 5.5 CGPA without rounding off, then if they have this much percentage or above, then they become eligible to apply for NET UGC. However, there was some relaxation for SC, ST, OBC and PWD candidates. For them, the relaxation goes to 50% or 5.0 CGPA. Then without rounding off, let us see what is without rounding off. That, like, if a candidate who is SC has got 49.7%, then he cannot just round it off to 50%. He or she need to get 50% or above to apply for this examination or to become eligible to sit in this examination. I hope this is clear. Now the examination time. The examination is held twice in a year. Once it is held in June and the other time it is held in December. So every year this exam is conducted twice. You may sit either in June or in December, or even if you have sat in the exam in June and you did not qualify, or you want to increase your score the next time, then you can sit in December also, because it happens twice in a year. Now let's come to the syllabus pattern. Before June 2018, it was conducted by CBSE. So before June 2018, NTA was not there, and in place of NTA, it was CBSE. However, from December 2018, NTA took over this charge, and then CBSE left out and NTA took over its charge. Till June 2018, the exam was conducted in offline mode. But after December, or since December 2018, the exam is being held in CBT mode, that is computer based test. Since December 2018, the exam is being held in computer based test, that is CBT mode, and even the syllabus and the structure of pattern also changed. Before December 2018, when CBSE was in charge of this examination, the examination was held in 3 parts. But since December 2018, the examination got divided into 2 sections or 2 parts. The first part is the general paper. The first part is the general paper, which is common for everyone who are applying under UGC NET or JRF, and the second paper is the subject specific paper. Okay. Paper 1 consists of 50 questions and paper 2 consists of 100 questions. Paper 1 consists of 50 questions, paper 2 consists of 100 questions, and both of these are MCQ. Paper 1 is of 100 marks, while paper 2 is of 200 marks. And the time limit for this examination is 3 hours, while combining both this paper. Like, you won't get separate time for paper 1 or paper 2. 3 hours will be given to you, in which you will have to answer both this paper 1 and paper 2 both. So in paper 1 there will be 50 MCQ, and in paper 2 you will be given 100 MCQ. That will be subject specific paper. However, one interesting thing is that there is no negative mark given to the candidates. Like, even if you do some wrong answer or you attempt any wrong answer, then there will be no negative marking given to you. So I would suggest that try to attempt as many questions as possible, but just don't blindly tick those, because sometimes the students get confused between the options in the examination. Then I would suggest that go for the very closest answer which you think may be appropriate, because there is not any chance of getting negative marking. So this is one of the advantages of this examination, that there goes no negative marking. Now the paper 1, which is common for every exam, which is common for every subject, for all the 81 subjects that are under UGC NET or JRF. So what are these? There comes this 10 things, or this 10 topics. What are these? Teaching aptitude, first topic. Second topic is research aptitude. Third topic is comprehension. Fourth, communication. Fifth, mathematical reasoning and aptitude. Sixth, logical reasoning. Seventh, DI. Eighth, information and communication technology. Ninth, people, development and environment. And 10th is higher education system. So the question from these 10 topics will be given in the paper 1, which becomes common for everyone. You can download the syllabus from any authentic site, I would suggest, because you should always be trustful to the authentic sites. We will also be providing the link of this syllabus which you can download it from there. and I have downloaded this from the main website of NTA UGC NET JRF. I have downloaded it from the main site. Even we will be providing the authentic site of downloading it. You can download it from this link given in the description box. So these 10 topics you need to study very carefully because it goes common to everyone. So these topics, I would say that paper 1 is not that difficult and it consists of general questions. So you need to be very well prepared. You can buy any books or you can consult materials, study materials or videos, and this will be very much helpful. You can prepare your own study notes. That will be very much helpful in making you very much expertise in these 10 topics. The questions are not much difficult. Then comes the paper 2, that is subject specific paper. In paper 2 there comes, I already said that in this video I will be talking in specific reference to economics paper. So in paper 2 I will be paper 2, that is a subject specific paper. So in subject specific paper I'll be here dealing with economic subject, because if I go on dealing with every subject the video will become so long. So in this paper 2 I'll be dealing with economics subject paper. In economic subject paper there also comes 10 broad topics which are further divided into various subtopics. 10 broad topics are there in economics subject paper. So we need to have a very clear idea about these 10 broad topics, because when we are proceeding in any examination, then we need to have a very clear concept about the examination. अगर हमें syllabus ही नहीं पता होगा, अगर हमें syllabus का right idea नहीं होगा, then we won't proceed in the right direction. So we need the syllabus and a clear idea about the syllabus. A clear idea of the paper 1 syllabus is given to you. Now a clear idea about the paper 2 subject specific paper of economics will be given to you. So here, as I said, that there are 10 broad topics which are further divided into various subtopics. I'll be saying this 10 broad topics to you, and you can download it from the description box. The link will be given. The 10 broad topics, what are the topics? Microeconomics, first topic. Macroeconomics, second topic. Statistics and econometrics, third topic. Mathematical economics, fourth topic. International economics, fifth. The sixth topic is public economics. Seventh topic is money and banking. Then eighth topic is growth and development economics. Ninth topic is environmental economics and demography. While the 10th and the last but not the least is Indian economy. All these topics are very important, and you need to have a very careful idea about these topics. If you have a clear idea about the syllabus, about the topics in the syllabus, about its subtopics, then clearing the exam will not be difficult for you. However, in these topics, I may suggest some of the topics which are very important. Those can be microeconomics, macroeconomics, statistics and mathematics, public economics, money and banking, and Indian economics. Maximum question comes from these topics. That doesn't mean that you need to leave out all the other remaining topics, but I would suggest to focus mainly on these topics, because maximum questions come from these topics which I have just said. So try to cover all the topics in the syllabus, and they basically ask the questions that you have studied in masters, in graduation level. So if you have studied very clearly and very carefully in your masters and graduation, then clearing this examination will not be very difficult for you. Then it comes to the strategy. What kind of strategy do we need to apply for clearing this examination? I would start with the very basic strategy, that is making timetable. Try to make your own timetable. Try to coordinate the studies of your masters and this UGC all together, because coordinating the study will help you, because the syllabus of masters and this NTA UGC NET, you will see that there's not much difference. So you will be able to coordinate the syllabus and then proceed accordingly. I would not say that in the timetable you should just give 24/7 to studies, but you should reserve some time, some spare time for you, along with proceed in the right direction. Then comes study materials. I would not say that watch our video, watch our marathon video and you will be able to clear the examination unlike other videos which you see. But I'll just say that our study materials will be helpful to you. We will be able to provide all the help that you need. So by consulting our study materials, the videos which we provide, the videos provided by the expertised persons, you just consult those videos, try to make your own notes with that videos. Those videos will be very helpful. Those are recorded videos. You can pause that, make your own notes, and after making your own notes, you just reconsult those videos. That will create a revision. So revisionary process is very important. Even I would say that you reserve one day of week. Say if a Sunday is reserved, you reserve Sunday for a revision of the entire study that you have done in the week. So that will be very helpful. So just consult the study materials that we are providing, consult the videos that the expert team are giving to you, try to make your own notes. That will be very helpful to you. Along with that, one of the most important thing comes is mock test. So mock test is one of the very important things, because from the very childhood days we have come to learn that if we give test, if we give the test, we get a refinement. Test always refines our knowledge. For mock test, if we give mock test in regular intervals, we will come to see that how much are we prepared, or are we going in the right direction, or what are the topics that needs much focus. Unlike other institutes, we won't say that we will just provide you the questions, you just answer the questions and our work is done. No. Along with mock test, we provide doubt clearing sessions. That is very important. Like after giving the examination, there comes many doubts and queries in your minds that need to be very clearly sorted out. Because if you don't solve those queries, solve those doubts, then that will be carried on to your exam. And in the exam, the environment is altogether very different. You get confused. The candidates get confused between 2 or 3 options. So to get out of this confusion, one need to have a very careful idea about their doubts. That is, they need to clear their doubt. So we conduct doubt clearing session. And moreover, there are some candidates who feel that they cannot just clear out their doubts in front of everybody. So we conduct one-to-one doubt clearing session for your convenience, because here we are to provide all the help that you need. So in one-to-one doubt clearing session, you become very much free to express your doubts, express your queries, which will be solved by our expert team. And moreover, I will suggest that in mock test, we do not just pick out the questions from any website or any previous year question. Rather, we do a very well research before preparing the questions and study materials for you. An expert panels sit all together while making the questions. We do consult the previous year question paper. We try to study its pattern, the structures that they have followed, and we have a very clear idea about the syllabus. So after having all these things, after having the expert people in our team, we prepare the questions and we also prepare our study materials for you, so that there goes no problem with you, because your success is a prime aim. So I think this video has been helpful to you. For further info and further help, you can consult our classes, that is Saurav Sir's classes. So thank you, take care. We'll meet in the further videos.